I'm Dane Carley. The bulk of my career has been a firefighter with Fargo Fire Department in North Dakota, where I was promoted to battalion chief in 2013. And I also still teach for the local college. Crew resource management is a way to apply good leadership. The research showed that there was 4 primary contributors to plane accidents. They were human error, poor interpersonal communications, ineffective decision making, and a detrimental leadership style. And crew resource management is a system that was developed to overcome these elements. And what it boils down to is crew resource management is just an effective way to apply leadership theories. It came about through aviation in general, where there were more planes crashing back before CRM than there is now. And back when planes were crashing more frequently, they realized that it wasn't because the planes were failing. They're mechanical, so they can fail. But most of the incidents that happened had a component of human behavior in them. And so the aviation industry looked at how can we reduce the human error and the human elements in plane crashes, and crew resource management, or CRM, was developed. And ever since that has happened, the incidence of human interaction or human attribution to plane crashes is still there, but the number of accidents has dropped dramatically. When it was first introduced in aviation, it wasn't really very well accepted. Some of the more senior people that had been around for a while saw it as a threat to their authority. But as it worked, as they saw it working and they saw the accidents being reduced, it was more and more well accepted. Other industries that have adopted the principles of CRM include emergency rooms. Emergency rooms share some similarities in the sense that ER doctor is used to being in a position of authority, much like the captain of the cockpit of the airplane used to be. Industries that what we call low frequency, high consequence industries, where stuff doesn't necessarily happen very often, but when it does, it has a really high consequence, whether it's in the form of loss of life or property damage, or injury or fatalities to the people that work in that industry. Those industries that have that, like aviation, like ERs, like the nuclear industry, and like the fire service, the industries that have implemented have seen a reduction in errors over time. So many benefits to it, because it's a way to apply effective leadership, because it improves communication, it improves morale, improves retention, because it helps officers be better listeners, so to speak. It helps them just be better leaders, because the practices that CRM uses are tied back to leadership. By having better situational awareness, it lets officers make better decisions about the strategy and tactics. It's going to reduce near misses. It's going to reduce line of duty deaths. It's going to reduce injuries. And this has been seen in the other industries. ERs have seen a huge reduction in errors. Amy Edmondson did a TED Talk on it, and she studied error rates at different hospitals, and she found that those hospitals where nurses were expected to speak up, not just allowed to speak up, their error rates were lower. And in the fire service, on a small scale where we see officers implement resource management, their crews tend to be more effective because you have more input from a wider group of people. When people show up to a scene, when an engine company, let's say, shows up to a fire, each person sees it differently. The company officer is looking at the incident from a strategy and tactics point of view. What do I need to do to get ahead of this incident? Where do I need to put my resources? They're looking at the bigger picture. The driver operator is looking for water supply, apparatus placement. Is my ladder going to reach there? Whatever apparatus they're driving, they're looking at specific things that they need to do to make sure they're successful at the incident. It's not only based on their position, but it's based on their experience. A younger firefighter is going to see stuff that a more senior firefighter doesn't, and a senior firefighter is going to see things that the younger one doesn't, and vice versa. It's just the nature of the business. It's the nature of human behavior. And so if we can communicate in a way that brings all these pieces together, it's like a puzzle. If we can bring all those pieces together and complete that puzzle, the officer can make better decisions on the safest and most effective way to attack that fire. CRM improves incident safety by improving one of the most problematic things that we have on the fire ground, and that's communication. If you look at NIOSH reports, or if you just do an after-action review in your department, communication constantly comes up as one of the leading causes contributing to whether a near miss, or maybe it's things not going, just something as simple as the incident not going as well as it could have. We have to have a hierarchy in the fire service to operate safely and effectively. The problem is that hierarchy builds in communication hurdles. Firefighters are going to use what's called mitigated speech when they talk to their officers, and their officers are going to use mitigated speech when they talk to their incident commanders. That mitigated speech is a softening of what they're actually seeing, or maybe even not reporting it at all. By improving that communication process on the fire ground, situational awareness is improved. And by improving situational awareness, that's, like I said earlier, that's where we start to reduce the errors that lead to near misses and injuries and line of duty deaths. One of the biggest things with CRM in the fire service is perception. There's a perception of what CRM is that doesn't match what CRM actually does. So one way to overcome that is just to understand what CRM is and gain at least an introduction to CRM. And that's why the text, having that specific chapter in the text on CRM is so helpful, is because it focuses the reader's mind, the student's mind on that topic, and it helps introduce the principles of CRM and hopefully build a positive perception of CRM so that there's a better understanding of what it is. One of the things I've done when I teach CRM is pick a specific part of CRM and then have a recording of an incident that I was the incident commander at where that topic was a problem. So take mitigated speech as an example. Mitigated speech contributing to a poor outcome is an issue in the fire service. And so when I teach CRM, I will have a radio recording, or better yet, a video of an incident where mitigated speech contributed to an outcome that could have been better. And I use myself as the incident commander. I use videos and recordings so that I know that what my mindset was. I know what I was thinking at the time and what I didn't know compared to what I did know after the incident was done, so that I can speak to the topic and the incident the way that is relevant to the class. The students appreciate having a real life example and having something that they can compare to their, or connect to their experiences in the fire service. The first part is to be a good leader. A good leader is a person who will listen to what their followers have to say, and is a person who gives the same amount of merit to a probationary firefighter's word as they do to the chief of the department's word. When a person's having a conversation with a good leader, they don't feel like they're being treated differently just because they're a probationary firefighter. The other part of that is gaining respect through good leadership, but also through knowledge. People, especially firefighters and company officers, want to trust the incident commander. They want to trust the company officer. They want to trust the people that they're working for. And trust is built through having knowledge, but also being able to apply that knowledge. I shouldn't say a lot of times, that's a very broad generalization, but there are instances of people who may be able to read a textbook and score really well on a written test, but can't necessarily apply that in the street at an incident in the way that the test would indicate they could. Luckily, the fire service is very hands-on, so in the fire service, people who tend to be very knowledgeable became knowledgeable because they can apply those skills, and that builds trust in that officer. So those two things together, good leadership and the ability to apply a wide range of knowledge, created an environment where people are willing to speak up. You can apply it as a company officer in your company by being a good leader, by being knowledgeable, by sharing that knowledge, by applying it well on the street, those kinds of things. And so you can implement CRM in your sphere of influence. So if you're a company officer, you can apply that CRM practices and principles at your company level. If you're a battalion chief, you can apply it at your battalion level, and so on. By simply applying CRM at the company level, you can start that process of moving the needle through the departments a little bit at a time.